We've all got our own personal guitar hero, that one guitarist that we aspire to play just a little more like. For me, and I'm sure it's the same for a lot of you guys out there, that guitarist is the legendary Jimi Hendrix. I'm Sam from Professional Music Technology, and today we're conducting a highly scientific experiment. I want to find out if an authentic Fender Jimi Hendrix Stratocaster will help a completely below average guitarist, such as myself, to play and sound a little more like my hero. You ready, Jim? Let's do it. So before we get cracking with our highly scientific experiment, let's take a closer look at the guitar itself. The Fender Jimi Hendrix Stratocaster isn't really a signature model in the traditional sense, and it's definitely not a replica of any guitar that Jimi ever played in his lifetime. I'd say it's more of a tribute model, taking a lot of the features that help to shape Jimi's unique tone and combining them with vintage styling and some modern specifications to make it a little more player friendly. As we all know, Jimi Hendrix was a left-handed player. He used to take a standard right-handed Strat, flip it over and restring it left-handed. But for us mere mortal guitarists, this does cause a few problems. As a right-handed player, the easiest way for me to demonstrate some of these problems is to take a lefty Strat and turn it over. Let's just imagine now that this has been restrung for a right-handed player. Firstly, and obviously, you'll notice that everything is now upside down. Immediately, I find that the tremolo arm isn't really in the most ideal place, and the pickup selector switch, control knobs and jack socket are going to completely get in the way when I'm trying to play. I'm also not going to get the advantage of the classic Fender Stratocaster contour body, which makes these guitars so comfortable to play. Quite a few years ago, Fender did actually produce a Hendrix replica Strat, which is effectively a mirror image of one of Jimi's guitars, complete with an upside down body but designed for a right-handed player. Personally though, for the comfort factor, I think it's probably quite a wise choice they've decided to stick to a standard Strat body on this model. Despite the obvious drawbacks of playing a back-to-front guitar, there are also some kind of happy accidents which resulted from Jimi playing an upside-down Strat, which contributed in a positive way to his unique playing style and tone. And it's these features that Fender have carried over onto the Hendrix Strat. You'll notice that the oversized 70s headstock is reversed, just as it would have been on one of Jimi's Strats. This changes the relative length of the strings, meaning that the low E string now has to travel a lot further to get to its tuner, and the high E string a much shorter distance. The string tree is now on the low E and A strings as opposed to the high B and E as it would be on a conventional Strat. This does change very slightly the way the guitar feels, especially on the higher strings, which feel a bit tighter and offer a bit more snap. Fender have fitted the Hendrix Strat with 3 American vintage 65 single coils, offering a nice warm vintage tone. But not only that, they've been mounted upside down, just as they would have been in one of Jimi's right-come-left-handed guitars. This now means that when compared to a conventional Strat, the stagger of the pole piece has been reversed, which subtly changes the string-to-string volume balance, all adding to that authentic Hendrix tone. The angle of the bridge pickup has also been reversed to replicate how it would have been on one of Jimi's upside-down Strats. This means you get a slightly warmer tone from that pickup, an emphasis on the upper harmonics, and the treble strings are given a slightly fatter sound. But other than that, we're talking pretty much classic Stratocaster specs. The body is made from solid alder. It's got a bolt-on maple neck with maple fingerboard, finished in a nice gloss polyester, which gives it a lovely vintage feel. Hardware-wise, we've got 6 vintage style tuners, and down the other end we've got a 6-saddle vintage synchronised tremolo, just like you would have found on one of Jimi's original Strats. As mentioned earlier, there are a few modern features to make it a little more player friendly. These include a C-shaped neck profile, medium jumbo frets, and a 9.5-inch radius fretboard. There are a few telltale signs that let on that this is a signature model. The neck plate features a lovely authentic Hendrix stamp, and the back of the headstock features Jimi's autograph. The Hendrix Strat is available in Olympic white, just like the one that he played at Woodstock, and classic black, like the one he played at the Isle of Wight Festival. These guitars feature a 3-ply scratch plate, and in keeping with the vintage styling, aged white pickup surrounds and control knobs. So that was a quick look at the guitar. Now, let's get on with our highly scientific experiment. So to keep this experiment fair and scientific, we're only going to be changing one variable, and that's the guitar. We're going to be using the same below average guitar player, i.e. me, and I'm going to be playing through exactly the same rig, which consists of a Hendrix Fuzzface pedal, a Gin Dunlop Crybaby wah, and a Marshall DSL 15C. That's pretty much the exact rig that Hendrix used to use, right? As I said, the only variable is the guitar. I'm going to be attempting to play to the best of my ability some of Jimi's most iconic riffs on both this Squier vintage modified Strat and the Fender Hendrix Stratocaster. Let's see which one makes me sound more like Jimi. Let this highly scientific experiment begin. So there we have it. I think that's a pretty definitive conclusion that yes, the Fender Hendrix Stratocaster will help a terrible guitarist to play and sound more like Jimi. And that is scientific fact. Whoa, alright, calm down before you all start crying, moaning, complaining in the comments. Just remember, this was only supposed to be taken as a bit of tongue-in-cheek fun. Of course, I'm not as bad a guitarist as I was making out when I was playing the Squier guitar, but at the same time, I also know that I'm no Jimi Hendrix. And that's the whole point, isn't it? We all aspire to become better players. And if a certain guitar can help you to feel like you are a better guitarist, then what's the harm in that? Of course, there's not a guitar on the planet that will instantly make you play as well as your guitar hero. But I'm a firm believer that if you find that dream guitar, it will inspire you to put in the time, to practice harder, and to become that better guitarist that you want to be. Jimi Hendrix may not be your personal guitar hero, and the Hendrix Stratocaster may not be your dream guitar. But I tell you what, it does it for me.